Piercebrown's Morningstar, the explosive finale to the Red Rising trilogy, is what happens when you mix revolution, heartbreak, and space politics into 500 plus pages of organized chaos. It's a book that knows how to punch you right in the gut, whisper sweet nothings into your tear ducts, and then toss in a plot twist just to keep things spicy. But beneath the explosions and betrayals, Morningstar is a well-structured, emotionally satisfying end to a trilogy that never pulled its punches. That introduction is honestly the most you'll get in terms of a spoiler-free section. So continue on only if you don't care to be spoiled, or if you actually have read Morningstar. Without further ado, let's break these things down into their parts, with there being 4 of them: Thorns, Rage, Glory, and Stars. Thorns deals with the aftermath of Golden Sun, which was essentially this series version of the Red Wedding, with Darrow getting betrayed by Rock and defeated by the Jackal and Cassius. In this part, we immediately begin with Darrow being at his lowest. The Reaper of Mars is now a prisoner, spending months being tortured, losing a lot of muscle, and most of all, his confidence. He's so scarred and emotionally wrecked that you would half expect him to start quoting Linkin Park lyrics. But that's what makes this section so strong. Seeing Darrow, this guy who always usually comes out on top, be humiliated and outsmarted like this. It is truly a wake-up call. Honestly, aside from the last 50 to 100 pages, this portion of the book easily has some of my favorite writing. His eventual rescue by Severo and the Howlers kicked things into motion. The only thing that puzzled me here was Trigg's death, because he and Holiday helped break Darrow out of prison. But Darrow wanted to go back and help rescue Victor. That isn't a bad thing. But dog, at this point in time, they were free to go, but this was Darrow putting their lives in jeopardy, which resulted in Aja Al-Grimace collecting another body, putting Trigg to sleep for good. This is also the time in which Darrow and Mustang reunite, and Ragnar starts to show more signs of autonomy, stepping outside of Darrow's shadow, despite being this beast of a man. Severo also became the leader of the Sons of Ares during Darrow's absence, and this plays on wonderfully into the second portion of this book. With part 2, we have Rage. This is where some of the setup for the latter piece of this novel come into play. We reach Ragnar's home on Mars, and we get to embrace how cold, literally and metaphorically, this place is. The temperature, the atmosphere, and massive beasts here are insane. This is also where Darrow, Mustang, and Ragnar confront Aja and Cassius. Thinking this was going to be an easy dub, they go in. The formation being Ragnar versus Aja, and Mustang and Darrow ganging up on Cassius. Cassius manages to hold his own, despite being jumped. Then again, he is an Olympic knight, so I wouldn't expect anything less. In the end, he gets caught off guard by Mustang and ends up in defeat, becoming a prisoner of the Suns. Meanwhile, Ragnar is getting pieced up by Aja. He may be the bigger of the two, but her sheer speed and ferocity got the better of the big giant and left him rendered useless. I did kind of see this coming because of how Ragnar's character arc was set up, with him being a pioneer for his people, the Obsidian. The other factor was that he was a big boy, and big boys in the series are like dogs in JoJo's Bizarre Adventures. They always suffer in the worst way possible. RIP to a real one. Luckily, before he died, he got to meet his sister Sephi, who becomes a key part in this rebellion, and also gives Ragnar the peace and joy he needed before passing on into the next life. I don't remember much on from this point in the book, particularly because it slowed down more than I liked it to. I'll merge parts 3 and 4 together since the massive moments happen here. Rock gets the closure on his character arc, which was lovely to see. This was a dude we've grown with since Red Rising, and at this point, he was an Imperator, a high-ranking position, and respected as such. You can't really be mad at him for betraying Darrow, and you can also understand his reasoning for what he did. Having him end his own life was beautifully tragic, fitting as his title was, The Poet. Rock was one of my favorites, man. In an alternate universe, him and Darrow still could have been friends. Severo and Victor got married, and seeing their relationship bloom the way it did was nice. The wedding also helped to give a happy moment in the storm that was this war. Definitely a beautiful way to give us and the main crew the hope we needed. I just wish there were more instances in which we got to experience their relationship grow. Also, can I say, screw Antonia. She also ended up killing Thistle in prison in one of the dumbest ways possible. For some reason, it's like everyone forgot her track record. She killed Lee, abandoned Rock, shot her own mother in the neck, and paralyzed Victor. So to whoever thought it was a good idea having her and Thistle side by side with gaps big enough for her to put her hands through and pull on Thistle's hair and batter her head across the prison bars until it caved in, deserves to be flogged. Thankfully, she gets her dues on command of the Sovereign once she denounces the wench and sentences her to death with Aja snapping her neck. I celebrated it like it was Christmas once she died. The amount of pain the slag put me through alone needs to be studied. She's only outmatched by the Jackal. They also got me with Severo's fake out death. He's legit in my top 3 characters along with Cassius and the Jackal. For those that don't know, this trilogy is narrated purely from Darrow's perspective, and he essentially lies to us readers that Severo is dead. The idea was great, but I feel that this is where multiple POVs would have came in handy, since if he wasn't let in on the plan and the others knew, or some alternate ending happened, then it would have made a lot more sense to do that fake out death. Also, that 4v1 was absolute cinema. The entire last 50 to 100 pages was pure cinema, y'all. The 4v1 I'm referring to is Darrow, Cassius, Mustang, and Severo versus Aja. You know how insanely strong Aja is? She's the right-hand woman of this world's empress, has caught the most bodies in this trilogy, and is downright terrifying. Even though she lost, she made it as difficult as possible for these guys to win, and I love that, showing how realistic it was to get her to that point. Thank goodness the Jackal gets his comeuppance in the form of swift defeat. What made this so sweet was that he killed Paxton Lawn, duped Darrow, causing his Red Wedding event, and stole literal tons of nuclear weapons to bomb innocent civilians. You know it was bad when Octavia, our sworn enemy, as her last words said, "Stop him, stop Adrius." That was the only reason she allowed the Jackal in her presence, to commence the execution and to even make a smartass remark to Aja. These weapons of warfare served as his insurance policy, with Lilith remotely detonating them. The reason I love the Jackal is that he's such a perfect villain in character. He outsmarts Darrow at pretty much every turn, one-ups him and his crew, and easily has some of the best dialogue in the trilogy. Mainly his speech about his father never loving him in Golden Sun, and in this book, talking to his sister about truly never being loved. Yes, it was true. His father Nero was a scumbag to him. Adrius is evil because of a mix of nature and nurture. Dog killed his older, beloved brother, and probably would have done the same thing for Mustang if it got him more praise and adoration from his dad. I even love how he's described as weak and small, so he uses his cunning to think outside the box in order to make others truly fear him. Mustang even mentions to him that Darrow was a slave and had very little, but he turned out fine with enough love, but claimed that her brother Adrius had way more than him. However, it was never enough, and that's what tended to get him the most riled up. It's like Piercebrown found a way to make him perfectly despicable and charming, and I think that's why I love him. He feels like a real person with a lot of hard lefts in life. The ending was cool, but nothing too crazy. Like, I could only imagine Darrow thinking, why didn't you tell me earlier that I had a son? I know I bragged on about the POVs earlier, but I have heard that the next soon-to-be tetralogy of books, Iron Gold, Dark Age, and Lightbringer, does do that, and I'm excited. I just want to read some other books right now, as to give myself a break from this universe. Currently, I'm reading It by Stephen King, along with some of the One Piece manga. Hopefully, by the time I catch up on either of them, Red God, the closer of the series, will come out. Thanks for listening to me yap. This is Black Sugar 11, out.